Five.
Curry hits a three.
Four.
Houston with a drive. Deep left field.
Three.
Magic hit by Watt. Sack number 10.
Two.
Messi with a record-breaking goal.
One.
Welcome to BSS Sports. Now, here are your hosts, Steve and Trevor.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of BSS Sports. My name is Steven Schill with the ever lovely Trevor to the Struthers, and the NFL Wildcard playoff games are complete, and I do have to say it was kind of a disappointment. I was really hoping these games were going to be somewhat close, but when the fact you have two starting quarterbacks out of the mix changes things a little bit. Was there any performance that you thought stood out of the four games, Trev?
I don't know if any one performance necessarily stuck out. I think we all expected the Packers-Giants game to be a bit closer, and it was for the first half when nobody was scoring, apart from a couple of field goals from the Giants. But then Aaron Rodgers there at the end of the second half, one touchdown, another drive, gets the Hail Mary at the end of the half, and that essentially salted that game away. Just the way the Packers, though, performed and the amount of points they ended up putting on the Giants, who, they have a defense that's going pretty well, or at least what was going pretty well into that game. And to be able to do what they did in the second half when they needed to be as big as they were able to do that.
So Green Bay won 38-13, but it was literally all Green Bay. The defense made the offense of the Giants look extremely weak, and vice versa. It just seemed that everything was going in Green Bay's way, and then we have the Odell Beckham punch thing afterwards of him raging. Is he trying to market himself, or do you think he's generally pissed off?
I have no idea if that photo was legit at all, but maybe he's. It wouldn't surprise me. Amari Stoudemire, what'd he punch? It was like the fire extinguisher, right? And that ended up breaking his hand or something. So at least Odell didn't break his hand. Not that I guess it would matter now that the season's over, as long as it healed before next season. I think is all Giants fans would care about. But I feel like we've all at some point in time wanted to punch a wall. I don't know if it's been sports related or not, but that's a frustrating loss. It has to be if you're the Giants.
So if you're talking about frustrating, you got to go with the Oakland Raiders, because that's the big frustration this year. You have Brock Osweiler, who's rated basically last in quarterback rating, going up against your team, and you've done pretty well. You're one of the better defensive teams, and if you had Derek Carr, then obviously your offense would be far exceeding that of the Houston Texans. Obviously, things didn't work out that way, and Houston won over Oakland at 27-14. So is it a bigger deal that Oakland's defense couldn't stop Houston, or the fact that Oakland could provide no offense whatsoever?
Well, he just couldn't provide any offense at all. And say what you will about Brock Osweiler. The guy is still at the level and has been where he can be an NFL quarterback. And that's the thing that the Raiders were struggling with. They really didn't have an NFL quarterback at all to put out there. They ended up going with their third string guy. And Derek Carr, if he's in that game, maybe the Raiders end up winning it. But even then, it's still an interesting matchup and can be a tough one, with the Texans having arguably the best defense in the NFL, not to mention the fact that they're 7-1, 6-1 this year at home. So that right there was going to be an issue for the Raiders, even if they had Derek Carr. And when they didn't have Derek Carr, really, in my opinion, this was going to be a no contest, just because Oakland was going to struggle to score. I was a little surprised, maybe that they scored as much as they did in that game. But, I expected the Texans to come out on top just due to the fact that there was no Derek Carr. Derek Carr is the leader of that team and the one guy that kept that whole thing together, it seemed like.
So the teams with the bye week previously were Atlanta, New England, Kansas City, and the Dallas Cowboys. And it's all pretty interesting matchups. I think everybody's keeping their eye on the Green Bay-Dallas game. But do you think Houston could possibly upset Tom Brady, or is that just an argument that can't be had?
It'll be tough on the road, but it comes down to the defense and what the defense does. They probably won't be able to. That goes without saying.
Without J.J. Watt as well.
Yeah, without him. But even then, the defense is still incredible without J.J. Watt. Imagine what they'd be with him. But what do you look at usually when you go into any kind of football game? You look at the quarterback matchup, and Tom Brady against Brock Osweiler, or even if it was Tom Savage. It's not a favorable matchup for the Texans, obviously. So I mean, regardless of how good the Texans D is, and they're going to have a great game, no doubt, against the Patriots, who are a tough offense. But if they do have a great game, I can still see the Patriots winning, just because I don't see the Texans being able to score. I mean, the Patriots D isn't exactly bad itself.
So there was a statistic out there that 45% of Canadians watching TV at the time were watching the World Junior shootout loss to the USA. I have to say, if every game of hockey was that entertaining, hockey would be by far the number one sport in the world for everywhere that knows what ice is, per se. But the game itself was incredible. I don't know what to say. People are complaining about the shootout. I don't know if you want to talk about that or the game itself, because I think the shootout, it's part of the game. I agree that it's a skills competition, but with that being said, it's been in the game for a while, and it just seems like this past year, everybody's been complaining about it because the hockey, I guess, is getting better and it's more noticeable. Hey, these games are great. Why are we ending them so soon? Well, because we don't want to have 5 times of overtime, because that's a bit excessive. But with that being said, I agree. Okay, sure. I mean, it'd be fun to do that. But maybe the World Junior should take on the 3-on-3 mentality as the NHL does.
Maybe they should. And the whole overtime format for the World Juniors changes as it goes on. And I mean, they were 5-on-5 for 20 minutes for the gold medal game, but before that, it'd be like 10 minutes 4-on-4 and 5 minutes of 3-on-3, I believe, in the round robin. So. And they all ended in a shootout if it was still tied after the fact. I wonder if because you're okay with the shootout, if it has anything to do with the fact that you really like soccer. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but obviously, I mean, that's been in soccer for a long time, the penalty kicks, right? So, I mean, that's maybe something there that I could see a connection. I'm not a huge fan of the game ending in a shootout, just because it comes down to a skills competition, essentially, and it's not hockey the way hockey is meant to be played. And I probably sound a bit like a purist when I say that, but I mean, hockey is what hockey is, and the shootout is not what hockey is. I mean, that sounds kind of poetic, but I mean, that's like the bottom line of what I'm trying to get out there. It's just, I mean, essentially what happened was one guy was able to sneak a shot through on a penalty shot, essentially, and that won a team the game. And I mean, yeah, it was a fantastic game. It was just a bummer knowing that, hey, you know, when that clock hits 0 in overtime, we're going to a shootout, and what we're watching right now is going to come to an end. I mean, I could have sat there and watched another 20-minute period of these guys going back and forth. I don't know if I could have I don't know if I could have watched 5 of them, but I mean, how often is that going to happen, especially in junior hockey?
This year, it seemed that there was a bit of a difference with Team Canada being more from the QMJHL. Do you think that it's starting to switch? Because in past years, it's pretty much been OHL dominated, but this year it seemed that a couple of the players from that league decided to step up.
It did, and they had a hell of a team. Thomas Chabot playing 40 minutes in that championship game. I mean, as a Sens fan, you know, myself, seeing Thomas Chabot go out there and play 40 minutes, first off, it reminds me of Erik Karlsson a little bit and the minutes he logs. But second, it makes me drool a little bit as well, just thinking about the future. Same thing with Colin White on the other side, just going to throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, the Quebec players on this Canadian team, I mean, it was even coached by a Quebec coach as well. They were fantastic. I mean, they had a line at one point that won them a very big game at a certain point where they had the 3 guys from the Quebec League on that one line. And Thomas Chabot was the MVP of the tournament, even though Canada ended up with silver and didn't win that gold medal game. So, I mean, essentially, yeah, the Quebec Leaguers took over the tournament. And, I mean, there were some Western League guys thrown in there as well. But, yeah, I mean, this was sort of a down year, I guess you could say, for the Ontario Hockey League when it came to producing players for the World Juniors. But you could also make the argument it may have something to do with the fact that there are some that we see in the NHL. I mean, Connor McDavid is still eligible for this tournament, but because he's in the NHL, we're obviously not going to see him in it anymore. But there are some Ontario Hockey League guys that could be on this team. But we're in the NHL. Dylan Strom's a great example of a guy that was sent back, you know, a couple of weeks before the tournament started, or before they named the rosters for the tournament anyway. And no doubt, you know, Canada was drooling at that to have him for the team. But I mean, he very well could have missed the tournament as well if he was still with Arizona. Now,
the most interesting statistic coming out of the World Juniors, even though that half of Canada that was watching TV was watching the game, is Alex Nylander. And Sweden as a whole, 40-0 in preliminary games. And Alex Nylander tied for the lead in points with 12 of the tournament. And, I mean, hey, you got to look to the Leafs because his brother's there. Do you think this guy is the next big thing in the NHL?
It's hard to say. He's no doubt very talented, but I mean, you could make the argument he wasn't even the most talented forward necessarily in this tournament, even though he was up there in points, and no doubt he was one of them. You can make the argument for a couple of other guys that were in this tournament, and I mean the next big thing in the NHL. I don't know if you consider him, a really big thing right now, but Connor McDavid. Technically, we have not seen the best of Connor McDavid that we're going to see yet in his career, assuming he stays healthy and all goes to plan with the kind of potential that he has. We have not seen the best of Connor McDavid, and we're going to, and this guy is going to be the star of the league for probably the next decade.
And testing your memory, who was the Sweden kid? It was the defenseman that was 16 years old that the commentators just went off on about how he should be playing because he's the next wonder kid and they're not giving him a shot and this and that, and then Canada beats them. And I've never even heard of the kid before, but apparently he's the next big thing.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed pretty talented when he was out there on the ice, too. He played with a lot of confidence for a guy that seemed to have no confidence from his coach, with the fact that he was on the bench a lot. And I think Sweden was coming at this from the perspective of, hey, let's have him on the team, throw him out there when we can. I mean, if you don't know, you can dress like 19 guys, if not more, for these international games. So you have your 4 lines, your 3 defensive pairings, but you also have a couple other guys dressed in the game as well. So, I mean, he was one of those couple other guys that, hey, if a guy got hurt, then he could fill in on a line and perform regularly. But apart from that, it's just maybe an experience thing for him. He's only 16 years old. No doubt he's going to be back in the tournament next year, maybe the year after that. It all depends on what happens draft-wise when it comes to the NHL.
Check him out for the future, Rasmus Dahlin. Keep the name in mind. We'll possibly see him in a Canadian team sometime soon. So our final topic of the day is something that happened couple weeks ago, but, more light's being shed on it, and it's an interesting topic. Edwin Encarnacion decides to go with Cleveland. A lot of talk between the whole, it's the manager's fault, or the agent's fault, it's the Blue Jays' fault, it's Edwin's fault. And it just seems that this is an awkward breakup, to say the least. And I mean, before Edwin played for the Cincinnati Reds, and he really wasn't a whole heck of a lot in the way of big names. But with the Blue Jays, he's an all-star, this and that. And I mean, I don't know what the heck to say about it other than a lot of Jays fans are pissed. But to the same point, good job on the front office for acting really quickly and getting Kendry Morales and being like, well, we're not going to wait for you if you don't want the big bucks, Mr. Edwin.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, really what it was they threw a contract out there to Edwin and the agent, and one of the two, if not both, turned down that contract. So the Blue Jays are like, shoot, what if we lose this guy? So, yeah, I mean, in a way, it was like a reactionary move to sign Kendry Morales, but that ensured the Blue Jays got something. And so they did get that something, but maybe, if they don't sign Kendry Morales, that money's no doubt available to come back and sign Edwin when, Edwin and his agent realized they're not going to get anything better than pretty much what the Blue Jays offered them. What they did end up getting was a year less in Cleveland for $20 million less. So it was pretty much like the same contract you would have had in Toronto, just without that final year. But I do believe there's an option on for one more year in Cleveland for a 4th year. I don't know if that's a club option or a player option, so that could make a big difference to see where his performance is. If it's a club option, they can decline it and he'll be a free agent then, or if it's a player option, he can pick it up, or if it's a club option, he's playing well, they'll pick it up. So I mean, really what it comes down to here was the Blue Jays wanted Edwin back, no doubt about it, but once he declined that contract, they had to make sure they got something. I mean, imagine if they lost out on Edwin Encarnacion and they didn't get Kendry Morales, who would be playing first base? Would they find a way to try to bring Chris Colabello back or something like that? I mean, now we're talking about nightmare situations. So it's a good thing that didn't happen for Blue Jays fans, and a lot of Blue Jays fans are angry at management, and I don't know why, because, I mean, when you hear the story in full, it makes it pretty clearly that, in my opinion, this goes on, if not the player, the agent, for just how they manage the entire situation. Because obviously the agent, and maybe even the player as well, overshot what they were worth, or, and over predicted what they were worth money-wise and term-wise, and they haven't got that. I mean, maybe the same thing has happened now with Jose Bautista. The guy is still out there. So, maybe that it's interesting, right? Edwin Encarnacion is a premium home run hitter, and you watch that presser that happened within this past week where they made it official, and the guy did not seem very happy. And it's hard to be when you're a hitter and you're leaving a place where you played at the Rogers Center all the time. That was like heaven for Jose Bautista, who may still come back, who knows, and Edwin Encarnacion, who's now in Cleveland, and all of a sudden now he's in a bit of a tougher division just from the standpoint of the ballparks are bigger. It's going to be harder for him to hit home runs. He's going to see Fenway less. He's going to see the Rogers Center, no doubt, a lot less. And Progressive Field isn't exactly a premium home run park. He's going to see more of Comerica Park, where it's like, it's like 420 or whatever it is, the straightaway center. So that's going to be a burden, no doubt. And his numbers are probably going to decline, I think, just because of the size of the ballparks that he's going to be playing in. As for the amount of talented pitching that he'll go against, he might see some tougher pitching in that division as well. So I don't know if the move was great for Edwin Encarnacion, but at the point where the Blue Jays already had Morales, I don't think they could have gone out and got Edwin anyway. So Edwin almost didn't have a choice at this point.
That's it for this edition of BSS Sports. So make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at BSS Sports, archiving all of our works on YouTube at BSS Productions. For Trevor, Struthers, and myself, Steven Schill, we'll catch you next.